going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I am Corey.
And I'm Keisha.
And we are
HisHerbs.
we're just some future big-time gardeners growing food in the high desert of Southern California. Today, guys, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be growing strawberries. That's what we're doing today, y'all. And we've already prepped the beds. We got everything good to go. So we're going to go ahead and throw these in the bed, and we're going to talk about some things that we've learned over the last couple of years to help you not kill your strawberries like I've done. Whatever. That's right. First thing to understand is that strawberries come in three different categories. All right, you have a day neutral, everbearing, and a June bearing. Your June bearing, which is going to put out your strawberries about mid to late summer, hence the name June bearing. Right. So the June bearing is going to put out the most runners. So if you're looking to propagate through runners, that's going to be the strawberry you want to go with. Everbearing is going to put out fruit from mid to late summer to late summer, early fall. Right. So the reason why that's important is because depending on your growth season and when your fall and winter actually starts, you're going to want to pick a strawberry that's going to grow successfully in that area. Okay. So for example, if it gets too cold too soon, maybe you want to go with the June bearing. So your day neutral, those are the plants that are going to put out strawberries as long as the weather permits. As long as the plant is comfortable, it's going to continue to put out strawberries.
And those are what? Day neutral?
Day neutral. Yeah. So that can be from midsummer all the way up to close to your last frost date. I mean, first frost date, excuse me. The day neutral is not going to put out a lot of runners at all. So that's going to be more of a propagation by seed, actually collecting the seeds and planting the seeds. Okay. And if you know anything about planting strawberries from seeds, it's
a long time.
Yeah, it takes a long time. So you got to be patient. All right. Those are the three different categories. You have 14 different types of strawberries. Now, when you choose your strawberry type, it's going to be up to you and your preferred taste, size, and all that good stuff. So we're not going to get into all that. What we have here, we have some Chandler strawberries right here in our hand. And these are June bearings. We're expecting a lot of runners out of these things. So that means I'm going to plant them in this other bed where we don't have any strawberries planted yet. That way they have the room to grow and plant and throw down their runners. All right. So a couple of things to keep in mind when you're buying your strawberries. When you're buying them, typically you're going to buy them from a big box store, right? They're going to look somewhat like this. Check to make sure that you're buying a healthy plant, because those stores, they call themselves the nursery section or the garden section, but they're not necessarily tending to the plants how they should, right? So what you want to do, make sure that this thing is free of any kind of any indicators that it has a disease. Okay, strawberries are susceptible to all kinds of soil-borne diseases, so you want to make sure that it doesn't have any. And also check your leaves for any kind of insect damage or insect population, like aphids and stuff like that. Check your leaves, check under your leaves. Make sure that this thing is free and clear of any kind of disease, any kind of insects. Also make sure that you look to make sure that you're getting the most bang for your buck and you have more than just one plant. Now, some quick notes about strawberries in terms of care. Strawberries love full sun if you're not in the high desert. What I've learned is that here where we are, we can't plant these directly in full sun for 6 hours, for 8 hours out of the day. They either have to get morning sun, or morning sun, afternoon shade, or morning shade, afternoon sun. One or the other, but they're not both. Like either give them 3 or 4 hours of sun in the morning or in the afternoon, and the rest of the day or the rest of the time should be shaded, because it just gets too hot. The heat is just way too heavy, way too intense for them. They will shrivel up and die. Ask me how I know. Make sure you pick the strawberries that are good for your climate. Okay, there are strawberries that are more heat tolerant, some that are more cold tolerant. So just make sure you find out which one is best for you and where you live. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and get into the actual planting process. All right, y'all. So we're going to go ahead and get these things planted. One thing that you need to know about planting strawberries is that it's really easy to plant them in terms of depth, because all you have to do is make sure you plant your strawberries wherever you're planting them at, that your soil is as deep as the container that it's in, right? So this isn't very deep, and that's going to be almost a perfect fit for this level of soil that we have. Okay, now real quick, you have to understand that strawberries have what's called a crown. This part of the plant right here, this little thing right here, is what's called a crown, right in the middle, right there. All that. That is like the heart and the brain of the plant, and you don't want to ever bury that because your plant's going to die. Okay, so you want to make sure that that stays above the soil. The way I do it is super simple. Anyway, all I'm going to do is dig my hole and make sure that my soil level stays lower. The soil level in the ground stays lower than the soil level in the cup. That way, I am guaranteed to never bury my crown. Okay, so all I'm going to do is dig my hole. I'm going to throw in some Azomite rock dust. That's going to give some trace minerals plus a little bit of potassium or phosphorus, one of the two. This is some alfalfa meal. This is going to provide some nitrogen. That's going to provide a hit of nitrogen. And I'm going to throw in some bone meal. Normally I'll throw in some blood meal also, but we don't have any right now, and that's okay. And so that's how I prep my hole. Now I'm going to take the strawberries and do something. Before I put it in this hole, I'm going to do something that's going to break a lot of people's hearts. You see all these flowers and these fruit? I'm about to take them off. They got to go. They got to go, baby. And the reason I'm doing that is because I want these plants to focus on putting out good roots, good solid roots, instead of fruit. So remember that, right? Roots over fruit. So I'm going to go ahead and take these fruit off and these flowers, because we're not expecting for this plant to put out a bunch of berries this year. Okay. What we want to do is we want this plant to get well established in this new home by establishing some good roots, becoming a much stronger plant. That way, next year when it starts to fruit, it has all the roots that it needs to take care of the fruit that it's going to bear. So I'm going to remove all of these fruit and flowers. And I know what for a lot of people this is painful. It's painful for me too, y'all. But you got to understand the risk is definitely worth the reward. It outweighs the reward. So that's what we're going to do. It's trying to fruit in this little teeny cup. It's not so much it's going to do anyway. So remember that, y'all. All right, I think that's about it for this one. So now I'm gonna go ahead and remove this from the pot. You see that? It's already got a nice root mass on it, starting to get a little root bound. So we came through to save the day. And honestly, y'all, there's about 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 plants in here. We can actually separate these plants and put them in individually, which is what I'm going to do. So all I'm going to do, if you get your by your plant and it comes like this, just tease the soil. It should fall away from the rest of the plant, from the roots, And don't worry, strawberries I know they look small and delicate. They're pretty strong. They're pretty resilient plants. You can transplant them easily with no problem, and they will survive. So I'm trying to free up as many roots as I can because I don't want to have to tear any roots. I don't like tearing roots. Even though the plant is strong, it hurts my heart to hear that tear. It really does. I'll be like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. So we're gonna get these separated like that. And look at there. Got us a nice little strawberry plant with a good set of roots on it. Little baby chandler strawberry. Give me a little 6-ounce baby plant. So now I'm gonna just throw that in. Remember what I said about the crown, right? I made my hole deep because I was initially gonna plant the entire thing. But so I've already prepped my hole and my soil and everything. I'm gonna just fill that back in. I'm not worried about it. It's not going nowhere. It's, you know, this soil was already treated with, it's already amended with bone meal and everything already. So I'm just gonna do that, start over, right? So I'm just gonna bury this thing in like a mound to make sure that my crown does not get buried. You see that? See that crown right there? It's still well above the soil with no danger of being buried. All right. Got some roots that are some straggler roots right here. There we go. Now all the roots are nice and buried, and that plant is good to go. And we're gonna just repeat the same process for the rest of these. All right, guys, so that's it. I got the plants separated. I didn't separate these two as much as I probably could because it felt really difficult to separate, and I didn't want to actually kill the plant. So I think it's that these are just one plant. But I was able to get 4 out of these. And now I got my irrigation in. As you can see, like I said, the crown is not covered. The crown is well above the soil level, so no worries there. They're about a foot, close to a foot and a half apart this way, and maybe a foot this way, which is what you want, right? You want about a foot apart, what, 12 to 16 inches in either direction. So these are good to go. Strawberries are shallow rooted plants, so they're not going to produce like this thick tap root, nothing like that. So you can bury them. I'm not going to say super shallow, but 6, 8, 10 inches should be fine with strawberries. If you want to go deeper, you absolutely can. So that's it. I'm getting these things watered in right now. Some of my emitters seem to be, well, they're working just fine. I have a leak over there on the other side, which is causing the pressure on this side to be low. So I have to go fix that leak. But aside from that, y'all, I appreciate you guys watching. This is how we planting strawberries this year. These 4 plants brings us to a total of about 20 strawberry plants that we have in our beds right now. And if you found value in this video, please hit the like button, share it if you have to, share it if you can with the new gardener, and we will see you guys in the next video.